Look, I'm about to save you from making a huge mistake. Because there are 15 things about living in Columbus, Ohio that no one actually warns you about until you've signed the lease or closed on the house. And if you can't handle these 15 things, then honestly, you will be absolutely miserable here. It's Gagan with the Living in Columbus channel, and over the past, well, it feels like forever now, I've watched people move to Columbus thrive. I've also watched people move here and leave within 2 years because they didn't really know what they were getting themselves into. So today I'm going to give you the unfiltered truth about 15 specific things that will either make or break your experience in Columbus, Ohio. And listen, this isn't about scaring you away. This is about making sure you know exactly what you're signing up for. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know whether Columbus is genuinely right for you or whether you should keep on looking. Let's get to it. All right, here's something that shocks every single newcomer, right? Ohio's property taxes work completely different than most states, and people get absolutely destroyed by this if they don't understand it up front. Your property taxes gets reassessed every 3 years, and when it does, your tax bill can jump from 20 to 30% overnight with zero warning. Look, I've seen people budget based on the previous owner's tax bill and then get hit with the reassessment that adds $3,000 or $4,000 annually to their housing costs. Suddenly, their mortgage jumps up $200 to $300 a month, and they're scrambling to adjust their budgets. And here's the part that no one actually tells you. You can actually protest your assessment, and you should. As a professional agent, I'm telling you that you should. There's a specific window, a specific process, and if you miss it, you're stuck with that valuation for 3 years. The county auditor's website has the forms, but most people don't even know the option exists until they've already paid their inflated taxes for the year. Look, the insider strategy is to always budget for property taxes at 2% of the purchase price, even if the current taxes are lower, because reassessment is coming. And the second that you get a reassessment notice, immediately start the protest process, even if you're unsure it's worth fighting for. The deadline does not care that you don't know this. Look, if you cannot handle unexpected housing costs increases, or you don't want to deal with the bureaucratic protest process, this is a real issue in Columbus. It's going to catch you off guard. I'm going to add something to this as well, and that's the post-build tax. A lot of people do not realize this, but the land gets taxed at one number. And then when the home gets officially built, because a lot of our buyers are buying new construction homes, wha-bam, you have a different tax number associated with it. Remember, the first one was just a parcel of land. Now you got things on that land. So make sure that you have that post-assessment tax and make sure you understand what that's going to look like. The builders, for the most part, will give you a number or a range, even before you've actually dug into the ground, of what those numbers will include. You need to understand this. I have seen people cry because their agents have not mentioned that one thing. All right, this one might sound minor until you're actually living in it. Columbus's water infrastructure is old in some areas and brand new in others, and the water pressure and quality difference are absolutely dramatic. You see, some neighborhoods have fantastic water pressure and clean tasting water. Others have weak pressure that makes showering frustrating and water that tastes like it came from a rusty pipe. Places like German Village and Victorian Village, old infrastructure, sometimes weak pressure, lots of people using whole house filtration systems. New Albany, Dublin, modern systems, great pressure, water tastes just fine. Parts of the east side and Hilltop, it varies street by street. You see, I've heard horror stories about people buying homes and not realizing this until they decided to take a shower. And then they get in there and they realize it's so weak that it takes 15 minutes to rinse the shampoo out, or the water has a metallic taste that makes cooking really annoying. These are fixable problems, but fixing them can cost from $2,000 to $5,000 for pressure boosting systems or for the whole house filtration. The insider move is to actually test the water during your home inspection walkthrough. Turn on multiple faucets at the same time, flush toilets when the shower is running, and pay attention to whether the water has an odor or maybe a taste. Most people never think to check this until they're stuck dealing with it. Look, and if you're particular about water quality or you've lived in a place with modern infrastructure, this is going to be the most frustrating thing that you can expect. All right, let's talk about something that I've really never seen anyone talk about, and stick with me because this one, as well as a few others that we've got, you absolutely need to know these things. I've been helping people purchase and sell homes for a long time. I also run the Columbus Report, one of the fastest growing media outlets in the entire city. And I can tell you, people don't know these things. And a lot of these are actually personal anecdotes from our clients, which is what makes it so absolutely imperative that we have knowledge to associate with it. You see, the Columbus area schools run on levy cycles that directly affects your property taxes and home values, and this creates this weird timing game that no one actually explains to newcomers. You see, school districts put levies on the ballot every few years to get more fundings, and whether they pass or fail dramatically affects your tax bill and also your home value. Alright, essentially, here's how this works. If you're buying in a district right after a levy passes, you're locked into higher taxes, but the school will be well funded for 3 to 5 years. If you're buying right before a levy, you're going to get lower taxes temporarily, but then you're voting to raise your own taxes or watching school quality decline. If a levy fails repeatedly, home values can drop because the school quality reputation will suffer. Look, I've seen people buy homes in districts where levies have failed the next year, and suddenly their homes have lost $15,000 to $20,000 in values because the schools had to cut programs and parents started to look elsewhere. I've also seen people avoid districts with upcoming levies, missing out on good homes because of the short-term tax concerns. Look, the insider knowledge to research the levy history and upcoming levy schedule for any one district you're considering. Talk to local parents about levy politics. Understand that voting against levies might save you like $600 annually, but it could cost you up to $30,000 in home value. It's a complex calculation that affects both your monthly cost and your long-term investment. Look, if you don't want to think about local politics and you're not prepared to vote for tax increases that benefit your investment, this is going to be a lot more complicated than you might think. Here's a reality that shocks people from the slower markets, right? Columbus housing in specific neighborhoods can move lightning fast. We're talking about homes hitting the market on Thursday and having multiple offers on Sunday. Look, places like German Village, Victorian Village, Clintonville, Grandview Heights, parts of Upper Arlington, if you're shopping from out of state and thinking you got time to look at some options there, yeah, you're gonna lose every single house that you like to a local buyer that understands the market timing. We're actually working with clients from all across the country now at this point. We're talking California, Seattle, Miami, and we've actually had clients miss out on certain homes because they weren't prepared to make same-day decisions. They thought they'd have time to think about it, sleep on it, maybe just see it twice. In this market, it's going to be a lot more tough. But it's not all negative things either. The market as a whole has slowed down tremendously. Homes are sitting on market much longer than the past few years. Even with the rates hovering around the 6.57% range, we don't really know where the Columbus real estate market's actually going to go into the future. Look, I'll be honest with you, all of America has slowed down in home sales, and it's definitely affecting Midwestern cities as well. Now, is this how this is going to function to the years to come? I have no idea. No one has any ideas. But here's the one thing that we do know. Certain homes, if they're priced correctly in decent neighborhoods, they're going to go by fast. Other homes are sitting on the market a lot longer. The insider strategy is to get pre-approved before you even visit Columbus. I know, how crazy does that sound? Have your down payment liquid and ready, and be prepared to make offers after a single showing if the house checks all the boxes. If you can't handle that pressure or need time to deliberate on the big decisions, you need to adjust your expectations correctly about which neighborhoods you can realistically compete in. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a negative Nancy, but all these things have to be apparent. The slower moving markets are the suburban areas, the new build homes, and areas that haven't heated up quite yet, but some of them are moving pretty fast. However, I will give a personal anecdote. A lot of our clients are actually just buying new construction homes, and new construction homes right now in Columbus have an absolute frenzy. The amount of 2.99% rates, 3% rates, $40,000 off, $10,000 at closing, all of these things that are existent right now is absolutely insane. If you're buying a home, which most people are actually purchasing new construction, especially here that are relocating, yeah, you're going to want to make sure that you give us a call, because new construction is something that is absolutely amazing, but at the same time, you need to make sure you know where to look, which builders to talk to, and ultimately how not to get scammed out of your money. Let's combine this with something else, because Columbus homeownership means owning equipment and tools that you've probably never needed before. Snowblower, lawnmower, leaf blower, dehumidifier for the basement, multiple shovels, ice melt by the bag, gutter cleaning equipment, potentially a sump pump. Look, if you're moving from an apartment or from a place where you didn't need to maintain outdoor space, the equipment investment is going to surprise you. You're looking easily at $2,000 to $3,000 in equipment in your first year, and that doesn't include the time investment that actually required to use all this. Look, the first time that you realize you need to mow your lawn weekly from May through September, and it takes about 45 minutes each time, you're going to be questioning your life choices. The first time that you wake up with 8 inches of snow and realize no one's going to clear your driveway except you're going to miss apartment living. Look, here's the insider reality behind all of that, and that's this. Successful Columbus homeowners either embrace the maintenance as part of their lifestyle and find it meditative in nature, or they budget $300 to $500 a month for lawn care and snow removal. Try to do it all yourself, and maintaining a full-time job with a family life, it's gonna burn you out pretty fast. Look, if you're not ready to do either significant property maintenance yourself or pay someone to do it, then maybe you should rent for a year before buying a home right now. Let's talk about something that I think a lot of people understand, but they don't really understand. Okay, Ohio State football isn't just football. It's a cultural phenomenon that affects the entire city for 4 months every single year. Now, if you're not into it, you're going to feel like everyone around you is speaking a language that you just do not understand. Look, Saturday games in fall means traffic nightmares if you need to go anywhere near the campus. Restaurants are going to be packed with people in scarlet and gray. Conversations on Monday revolve around the game, and your coworkers will assume that you watch and have an opinion on things. I've seen people move here and feel completely alienated because they don't care about college football, and suddenly their entire environment is organized around that. Look, even if you never went to Ohio State, even if you've never watched a football game, you're expected to at least know what's happening kind of in the synopsis. The insider strategy for all of this is just to embrace what's happening. Look, even if you don't love it, that's okay. Just go to one game for the experience, right? Learn the basic traditions, wear the colors on game day. You don't have to become a super fan, but showing basic awareness and respect for the culture will make you socially integrated much easier. And let's say you're fundamentally opposed to sports culture, or you find it so annoying when people care deeply about the game. Columbus is going to exhaust you for about 3 to 4 months of the year. That's unavoidable. Just a heads up. Can I tell you a quick secret? Listen, this shirt, I have about 10 of them. You may not believe me, but I have this exact replicated shirt to the 10th degree. That's what the 10th degree means. Why is that the case? Well, I want to be like Steve Jobs. I don't necessarily have to worry about the clothing that I've got on. But if you are living in Columbus, Ohio, you are going to need more clothes than you've ever owned. Not nicer clothes, just more clothes. You're just gonna need more variations of the same types of clothes because Ohio winters, they require it. Heavy winter coats, medium winter coats, light jackets, rain jackets, several types of sweaters, shorts for 90-degree summer days, pants for 40-degree falls, boots for snow, boots for rain, shoes for dry weathers, gym shoes that work in cold weather. You're going to need all of it. And it's going to have to be accessible because the weather changes weekly. Listen, meteorologists do not exist in Columbus. Look, the closet needs to be a year-round operation because you genuinely cannot predict what season you're going to be dressing for any given week from March to May or September through November. I've worn shorts and a winter coat in the same week more times than I can count. It's not just an initial investment either, it's the storage space, the organizational systems to keep it all accessible, and the mental load of checking the weather every single morning to know what to wear. You know, John and Maisie actually reached out to us from Florida a few months ago. They said that the Florida politics really wasn't for them. They were just getting a little bit more expensive to own their home. They sold their property and they're moving here. One of the main things that I told them is that it's not going to be the same as Florida from an entire perspective. They questioned what I was saying, and I said it like this: we're not going to know what the weather is. Truth be told, my buyer's agent actually showed them a few houses, and we're still working with them right now. But throughout that week, I got that text that says, I get it. Because that whole week, we had one day where it was freezing to death, the next day where it was absolutely beautiful, the next day where it was a little chilly, and the next day it just went back to normal. That's Columbus's weather. Listen, we don't have meteorologists because no one can really predict the weather. Now, for me, someone that actually loves fall foliage, someone that loves the snow, someone loves, well, sometimes the heat, it's amazing. It's exactly what I want. But if you're the kind of person that only wants one thing, I don't know why you've made it this far into my video, because we're talking about Ohio, not Arizona or California. And look, if you're someone who likes a minimalist wardrobe or you hate dealing with seasonal clothing changes, Ohio is going to frustrate you constantly. You're going to need clothing flexibility here that you wouldn't necessarily need in more consistent climates. Now let's talk about something that's important: your basement. Look, I'll be honest with you, every single house in Columbus has basement moisture challenge, guys, and I don't even care how new the house is. I don't care about how good the waterproofing is. Humidity in the basement is a universal Columbus problem. You're going to need to moderate it, empty it, or just plumb it to the draining automatically and replace it every few years until it dies. If you finish your basement and don't address the humidity properly, you're going to have mold issues. And this isn't something that I'm necessarily joking about, because it's very, very imperative that we understand this. I've seen people move here from drier climates and completely miss this until they've had mold problems or their basement starts to smell funny. It's one of those things that long-term Columbus residents know this, but no one tells the newcomers. The insider knowledge for all of this is to budget $300 to $400 for a quality dehumidifier. Plan to run it from 6 to about 8 months a year and expect it to pull about 30 to 50 pints of water from your basement daily in humid months. If you're not prepared to manage this, you're going to have serious problems. Like if dealing with ongoing home maintenance issues frustrates you or you want a low maintenance living situation, this is one of the main things to consider before buying a home in Columbus. I've said this multiple times, right? A lot of our clients just end up buying new construction homes. Even with new construction homes, one of the main things that we do is we actually just gift humidifiers at the closing table. Why? Because it's so important. Columbus, especially during the days where you don't feel like going to the basement or maybe just going upstairs, you need to, because these problems can add up, and mold is a massive issue. Your house will not sell and it's going to cost you thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars to mitigate. Let's talk about something that I think is really important, and I don't see any other channel address this. Listen guys, we want to give you the unfiltered truth. Where does Columbus rank politically? Columbus is politically purple, which sounds great in theory, but in practice, it means that no one's going to be happy with your local politics choices. Look, if you're moving here from a progressively coastal city expecting Columbus to be similarly progressive, you're going to be disappointed. If you're moving here from a conservative area expecting Columbus to be conservative, you're also going to be disappointed. What this means practically is that Columbus moves slowly on everything. Progressive policies, conservative policies, all of it. We're not going to lead on social issues. We're not going to be a conservative stronghold. We're going to be moderate, cautious, and slow to change in either directions. Look, if politics is central to your identity and you want to live somewhere that aligns perfectly with your political values, Columbus is going to feel like a constant compromise. The city government is functional, but it's not inspiring. State politics affects local issues, and Ohio is a swing state, which means political energy goes onto a national election more than just a local change. The insider story for all of this is Columbus's politics works best for people who are politically engaged but not politically obsessed. Look, if you need to live in a place that validates your political identity daily, first and foremost, go outside and touch some grass. And second, you're going to find that Columbus can be frustrating no matter which direction you actually lean. Then the HOA raises fees by 5% or 10% annually, and suddenly your affordable suburban home, yeah, it costs a lot. We're talking $4,000 to $5,000 annually in fees. Here's the real trap though. These HOAs control everything. Your landscaping choices, your exterior colors, where you can put up a fence, what kind of mailbox you can have. It's so annoying. And I've seen people get fined hundreds of dollars because their grass was like an inch too long, or they had the wrong shade of beige on their shutters. Look, the insider knowledge for all of this is very simple. Read your HOA documents thoroughly before you buy. Make sure to ask current residents about enforcement patterns and budget for fees to increase 30 to 40% over 5 years. The neighborhoods with low HOA fees oftentimes have lower fees because they're newer, and they're going to increase as infrastructure needs to be maintained. I will say this as long as I'm alive. I think 99.99999% of the HOAs that exist are absolutely terrible. I don't really understand why we have them. I do, but I think they're dumb. Look, if you value autonomy over your own property, or you hate being told what to do with something that you actually own, neighborhoods with active HOAs are going to drive you insane. Like us, and that's why we don't have anything in any HOA locations. This is gonna sound like a joke, but Columbus is on the path of periodic cicada emergencies, specifically broad X, that emerges every 70 years. The last one was in 2021, so the next one is going to be 2038, but we also get annual cicadas every summer. When I say it's an apocalypse, I mean that there are so many different insects that sound so deafening. They cover every surface outside, they're gonna crunch under your feet when you walk, and they fly into your face just randomly. It lasts between 4 to 6 weeks, and it's genuinely disturbing if you're not prepared for it. Your cars will be covered with them, your patio furnitures are going to be unusable, trees will have dead branches from damage, and the sound is so loud that you cannot open up your windows. Dogs and cats will try to eat them and then get sick. It's like living in a low-budget horror movie, but it's your house. Look, here's the insider strategy for all of this. It's to plan indoor activities during peak emergencies, budget for exterior cleanings and possible tree damages, and accept the fact that this is just a part of Midwestern living. Long-term residents treat it like a weird tourist attraction, but newcomers are usually traumatized by this. Look, if you're squirmish about insects or you have serious issues with loud, repetitive noises, cicada season is going to be incredibly difficult for you. Now, let's talk about something that I've always found a little bit funny. Columbus has a lot of charming older homes with finished basements. But here's the reality that no one actually mentions. Most of these basements were finished in the 70s, 80s, or 90s by homeowners who had no idea what they were doing, and now there are disasters waiting to happen. Paneling over concrete with no moisture barriers, carpets directly on concrete that's now growing mold, electrical work that's not up to code, drywall that's never been properly moisturized. These basements are gonna look fine during a showing, but then the first time that you get heavy rain or high humidity, you've discovered the problems. Look, I've seen people buy houses with finished basements included in the square footage, then spend $15,000 to $20,000 completely remodeling the space because it was done wrong the first time. The mold issue alone can be health hazards, especially for kids or people with respiratory problems. The insider move is to have the basement specifically inspected during due diligence, look for moisture stains on basements and carpet edges, smell for musty odors, and budget to redo any basements that was finished before 2000. If they're not going to let you pull up carpet cleaners to inspect, that's going to be a red flag. If you're counting on the basement space for your family's living area, or you're factoring in the square footage into the value calculation, understanding all of this is going to be absolutely incredibly important. Make sure that you're not going to have to redo anything, and make sure that all the numbers are actually crunched correctly with all the usable space. Look, if you thought we'd covered the best things, stick around. We've still got two more important things, and the last one is going to surprise you. By the way, if you're enjoying these videos, what was the one secret about Columbus that you didn't know, but you do now? Let us know in the comments below. And by the way, if you are thinking about making that move to Columbus, whether it be in 6 days, 60 days, maybe even a year from now, give us a call, shoot us a text. As much as we love making these videos, we'd be more than happy, and we love it when you guys reach out, asking any questions that you have about Columbus, Ohio. All of our contact information is down in the description below and pinned to the top of the comments. It's really never a bother when you guys reach out, and we've had so many more of you individually ask about Columbus and about new construction homes and everything else to it as well, that we've been so incredibly happy. Let's get to the last two things. Look, Ohio winters are going to destroy your cars. The road salts, the potholes, the freeze-thaw cycles, your vehicle maintenance costs in Columbus are going to be significantly higher than the mild climates. You're looking at alignment checks every 6 to 12 months instead of annually. Tire wear is faster because of road conditions, and rust is a constant battle, especially on undercarriage components. Brake lines can corrode and exhaust systems rust out faster. I've watched people move here with cars that were fine in their previous locations, and then within 3 years, they're dealing with rust issues, suspension problems, and expensive repairs. A car that would have lasted 10 years in Arizona might just last you 7 to 8 here in Columbus before the rust makes it just not worth repairing at all. Look, here's the insider strategy for all of this. Budget an extra $1,000 to $1,500 annually for car maintenance and repairs that beyond just the oil changes and routine checkups. Get regular car washes with undercarriage sprays during winters, constant rust proofing treatments, and just accept the fact that cars are going to depreciate a lot faster here because of the conditions. Look, I know a lot of the insider secrets and a lot of the insider scoops have just been to budget money for things, but seriously, if you are on a tight budget or you drive an expensive vehicle that you want to keep pristine, Columbus road conditions are going to cost you a lot more money than you think. Let's talk about something that I think is imperative that you know. Columbus sits in the perfect storm of allergy conditions, right? Wet springs that promote mold, dry summers that kick up the dust, and fall ragweed that actually just destroys people. I've seen people move here with 0 allergy histories, and within 2 years, they're on daily antihistamines. I think I've told all of you guys a story. I was in a car with a friend of mine, and then she just started sneezing a lot. I almost took her to the hospital because I was actually very, very scared, but just turned out she was very allergic to pollen. Who would have thunk? She actually never had any allergies, and in fact, she was living in Columbus for a really long time. So even if you are living in Columbus, Ohio, or you're moving to Columbus, Ohio, either or, it might just hit you like that, no reason. Doesn't matter. Just gonna hit you. Look, the spring pollen season in Columbus is intense. Cars are covered in yellow dusts. People are sneezing constantly, and the allergy medication aisle in Target is a perpetual empty nightmare. And listen, if you're someone who already has allergies, then it's just gonna get worse here. You're going to need to run air purifiers in your house, keep windows closed during high pollen days, shower before bed to rinse the pollen off, potentially start allergy medications proactively rather than just retroactively. All right, listen, I promised you a good one, and it's just gonna be this one right here. Sports are important. And youth sports and club sports and everything like that, they are very, very vital, especially in the suburban areas. One of the main things that I've noticed is that club sports aren't just gonna affect you based on the money aspect of it, but also the time aspect of it. And your kids are either gonna be a part of the cool kids club or not, meaning they're either going to have friends or not. And these things aren't cheap either. We're talking about 3 to 4 practices per week. We're talking about thousands of dollars, from equipments to maybe hotels outside the area to food to all of these things, and the club costs as well. Understanding and budgeting all these things is imperative, and your kid's not going to play it, or you don't have the budget for it, and they are not going to be in that social circle as much as you think. Make sure you have this in understanding, and it's not just 1 time or 2 times that I've seen this. I've seen a lot of families and a lot of kids overall not really have the same connection with their friends because their friends are playing club sports and they're not. Look, if these 15 things didn't scare you about Columbus and you're ready to make Columbus, Ohio home, then give our team a call, shoot us a text, and you know exactly what to do already. The people that thrive in Columbus are the people that make Columbus home. They're the ones that proactively go after the issues. They understand what the levees are. They understand the water situations. They understand the basement, everything. The ones that struggle are the ones that think that they're going to get away with things or understand the problem and just not necessarily care. Listen, if you've decided to make Columbus, Ohio home, again, give our team a call, shoot us a text. But if you're not quite ready to make that move just yet, we actually did an entire A to Z guide about what making that move here would actually look like. I'm gonna put that video right here, watch it, and I'll see you soon. Peace.